7 of his MMA fights and is Bellator's welterweight world champion. He also was a freestyle wrestler for the United States at the 2008 Summer Olympics. His super fight versus UFC veteran Nick Thompson is still to come on Bellator. We welcome you back live on MTV2 to Bellator Fighting Championships. Ben Askren defeated Lyman Good last October to become Bellator's second ever welterweight world champion. Tonight is Askren's first bout since winning the title. In a Bellator super fight in the welterweight division, Nick Thompson versus the champion, Ben Askren. Nick Thompson has fought in the UFC, Sengoku, Strikeforce, and Bodog, where he was the middleweight champion.
Sure, Ben's cocky, but he should be. What he's done in wrestling and what he's done in jiu-jitsu, I think he's earned that right. And guys like him are really going to be the future of the sport. But the future is not tonight. It's going to have to wait for him for another day. Having over 50 fights, I'm going to be able to put Ben in spots he's never been. Ben is young. He hasn't gotten used to being hit yet. And I think that inexperience is going to show the first time I hit him really hard.
Ben Askren was a two-time NCAA Division I wrestling champion at the University of Missouri and represented the United States at the 2008 Summer Olympics.
I'm the best wrestler in mixed martial arts today. Be prepared for a war. You better learn how to stop the takedowns. Even if you do, you probably can't stop mine.
Askren going for the single leg and gets it. That's world-class wrestling.
I come from a wrestling background, and that is the best background to have for MMA.
Big shots there for Ben Askren. This crowd absolutely electric.
I've made a living on making people quit.
Going for a guillotine here. He's out.
When people get 15 minutes in the cage with me, they're not going to know where to go. They're going to want to run, but they can't because the door's locked.
When he gets around you, he gets the takedown 9 times out of 10.
When I walk into the cage, I know I'm a warrior. I know they can't beat me. I know they can't stop me, and I know that sure they can't make me quit. Being well-rounded is definitely the only way to be really successful in the sport. I started working on my striking because I knew that was my one major deficiency in the sport.
Oh, nice right hand.
Ground and pound from Askren.
Just like I've climbed to the top of the wrestling world, I can climb to the top of the mixed martial arts world with the same work ethic and smarts that I put into wrestling.
Great performance by Ben Askren. He wrestled his way to victory.
Nick Thompson's experience doesn't really concern me at all. Every single time I step into the cage, I have something to prove, and that's that I am not only better than who I'm fighting, I am a lot better than who I'm fighting. And I plan to go in and prove that against Nick Thompson, and that I'm not only better than him, I'm significantly better than him.
Welterweight champion Ben Askren.
This Bellator super fight is in the welterweight division. Nick Thompson versus the champion Ben Askren. Jimmy, our tale of the tape.
You see here the radical difference in records. 52 professional fights for Nick Thompson, 7 for Ben Askren. But Ben Askren undefeated. He wants to keep that going.
And your inner circle.
Well, number one, you can't fake the funk. Askren has one of the most unorthodox takedowns in all of wrestling. Thompson has been working on his defense, but it's hard to simulate Askren's style in the gym. Leaving the comfort zone. Thompson said it. Askren has spent his entire fight career on top of his opponents where he's so dominant. Thompson kept saying he wants to put Askren in situations he has never been in before and test his confidence. Can the veteran do it tonight? On-the-job training. Part of Askren's strength is the fact that he knows he's still developing as a fighter, but it isn't easy to grow while being champion. Does he have enough tools to stay on top of a very talented division?
Bellator Fighting Championships on MTV2 tonight from First Council Casino Hotel. First in entertainment, now present a non-title super fight, 3 5-minute rounds in the welterweight division, sponsored by Crisis 2. Be strong, be fast, be invisible, be the weapon. And now introducing first the red corner at 6'1", weighing in at 170 3/4 pounds. The veteran brings 38 professional victories, 13 defeats with 1 draw, fighting out of La Crosse, Wisconsin, introducing Nick the Go Thompson. And across the cage is adversary tonight, fighting out of the blue corner at 5'11", weighing in at 170½ pounds. The U.S. Olympian, now undefeated as a professional, tonight stands at 7-0 from Phoenix, Arizona. He is the reigning Bellator welterweight world champion, Funky Ben Askren. In inside the cage, the referee, Jason Herzog.
Fighters gone over the rules in the back. There are no final questions from you, Blue. No final questions from you, Red. Touch gloves. Come out ready to fight.
This Bellator super fight is non-title, so it is scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds. It is under the unified rules of MMA. Elbows to the head are allowed, both standing and on the ground, and there is no kicking or kneeing the head of a grounded opponent.
First round. Fight, are you ready? Fight, are you
Jason
ready?
Herzog is the referee. The bell in round number 1.
I wonder what Ben Askren is going to do. I would guess a takedown.
Nick Thompson is in the black trunks with the red trim. The champion Ben Askren is in the black trunks with the yellow trim. Head kick by Askren, caught by Thompson, then misses with the right over the top. Askren with the right hand and slips. Thompson pounces immediately.
And this is where he's so funky. This is where he earns that nickname. You think you have him on the ground, he turns into you and takes you down.
Askren, 2-time NCAA Division I wrestling champion at the University of Missouri, 2-time runner-up, 4-time All-American. Thompson did wrestle at the NCAA Division I level at the University of Wisconsin.
See Askren on top. That's what he does. He fools you. You think you have him on the bottom. He does something funky and weird and comes out on you.
Knee on the belly by Ben Askren.
You know, Askren says, I'm not weightlifter strong. I'm not a strong dude. I'm grappler strong. He has a phenomenal grip. Now going for, looks like a Darce choke.
Has arm in on Thompson, then let it go. Short elbow by Askren.
Where Askren is so good is in his mobility. He moves so well. He's extremely fluid. He doesn't hold a position for a long time like a traditional jiu-jitsu guy would. He moves all the time.
Side control with the leg hooked there by Ben Askren.
It makes it hard to escape.
The knees, then the knee back on the stomach.
Every time you think there's a door open, he closes it. You turn to the left, he jumps over you, he's on the other side. That's his strength in his grappling.
Thompson trying to move from the bottom. Hammer fist now with the right hand by Askren. Nick Thompson looking for a hammer fist from the bottom.
Thompson trying to go for leg lock position here. That's not going to be easy to get against Askren. And he steps right over it.
Submission attempt by Thompson, denied by Askren.
Oh, now he has that arm trapped. Thompson trying to explode out, but not going to happen.
Again, you see Ben Askren hooking the leg. That's just something you don't see a lot of in MMA in side control, Jimmy.
No, you really don't. I mean, it has its disadvantages to most guys, but Askren makes up for those little things he does that are technically quote-unquote wrong. His balance and his movement make up for it.
Nick Thompson, very, very confident in our fighter meeting with him. He said, quote, I'm being brought in to lose and I feed off of that. Complimentary of Ben Askren, he said he's the future of this sport, but I'm still going to beat him.
Askren's so tight with his hips. Thompson trying to shuck him off, just cannot get anywhere.
Watch the back of the head, fighter on bottom.
Warning to Askren by referee Jason Herzog, punches to the back of the head. Thompson covering his back of the head. Thompson trying to roll.
You're not allowed to hit the back of the head. That's where the spine connects to the skull. Very sensitive. Hard shot there can kill you.
Side control once more held by Ben Askren. Looked like he was setting up for a spinning armbar. Couldn't find it. Thompson continuing the move, though. Continuing to turn. Shrimp posture on the bottom.
Well, Askren continues to move as well. He's just so hard to get away from.
Somersault by Thompson. Still in side control is Ben Askren.
And he's just continually working. He doesn't throw big, heavy, strong shots that are going to take someone out. He just keeps busy.
Short elbows, then the right hand to the cheek by Askren.
And he's just smothering. He just puts a lot of pressure, and he does enough that a referee can't stand him up. He's busy. He's moving. He's not sitting there for 2 seconds.
Again, look at the knee on the chest. Askren going knee to the stomach earlier, now knee to the chest as Thompson turns out, but gives his back. Good short right hand by Askren.
You know, Thompson said there's nowhere Askren could put me. I haven't been, but he hasn't fought a wrestler like Ben Askren. His style, his name fits. He's funky.
Askren looking for a crucifix. Couldn't find it.
See some blood out of the nose of Nick Thompson.
Askren looking to step over in the full mount. Caught in the half guard.
You know, it's deceptive when you watch Ben Askren. A lot of guys I know at 170 watch him and go, oh, you know, I think I could get out. I don't think he could hold me down. But it's deceptive. His movement's good. He comes at you at strange angles. You know, it's like watching like a Roy Jones. You go, wow, you'd imagine you could hit him. His hands are down by his waist, but you can't.
Left hand by Askren. Nick Thompson back to his feet. Askren chest to chest, looking for a head and arm throw. Didn't get it. Askren getting the back. Thompson playing all defense. Askren looking to go with more right hands.
Stop there, guys. Stop. Buddy, you're in the corner.
Ben Askren, Jimmy, without a doubt, one of the greatest American wrestlers of this generation.
You can see there, two-time NCAA champion, four-time finals. He was in the finals as a freshman and a sophomore. The Dan Hodge Award, it's the Heisman Trophy of wrestling. He won it twice.
Round number 2 of this Bellator non-title super fight in the welterweight division. On your unofficial scorecard.
Oh, you got to go 10-9 for Ben Askren. I wouldn't call it 10-8. He was on top the whole time, but didn't do the kind of damage that warranted a 10-8 round.
Nick Thompson is in the black trunks with the red trim. Ben Askren, Bellator's reigning welterweight world champion, is in the black trunks with the yellow trim.
You see what Nick's trying to do on the feet. He's trying to be funky on the feet. But a guy like Ben Askren, he's boxing just enough to take you down.
38 career pro MMA wins for Nick Thompson, and he is one of only 2 fighters to defeat our reigning Bellator lightweight world champion Eddie Alvarez. That April 2007 in Bodog by way of second-round TKO. Shinya Aoki, the only other fighter in this sport to defeat Eddie Alvarez. Much different body type in Ben Askren than what Thompson had 4 years ago in Eddie Alvarez.
That was very true. You know, Askren's not a huge 170-pounder. He's not gigantic. Nick Thompson is a lot bigger. But he just uses his strength so well in that grappler style. He's sticky and strong where it counts.
Thompson telling us that he'll get as heavy between fights as 230 pounds.
You see here, he was about to get the mount, saw that Nick was moving and just hopped off again. He doesn't go crazy for something he's not going to get.
Thompson feinted the stomp. Thought I was back in Pride, Jimmy.
Look like he's going for a leg lock, trying to roll through for a knee bar. He's going to try and straighten that leg out. And Askren, you see him putting a lot of pressure. He's going to cross face. He's going to put that arm across the face of Nick Thompson, put his hips in. He's not going to get that. Right.
Full mount again achieved by Ben Askren. Short right hand by Askren.
And the guy's just like a blanket, just impossible to get off you. I'll never forget the look on Dan Hornbuckle's face after the first round of his fight with Askren. It was just complete frustration. He has the rear naked choke in.
One hook in.
Across the chin right now. It's not as deep as it needs to be.
More of a neck crank at the moment. Askren not sliding it down yet. You see he doesn't have the hands locked.
Well, he only has one hook. It's hard to put his hips in, and he transitions yet again. That is classic Ben Askren. I go for it. It's not there. I just move.
Thompson's so slick, so slippery on the ground, but he's playing all defense, Jimmy. Swing and a miss with the big right hand by Askren.
You know, you should explain that your wife's British, and that's why you say defense instead of defense. You should let our audience know that. Always wondered about that.
An amateur instead of amateur.
The little tiny Seanisms. I love them.
Neither fighter looking knackered, Jimmy. No controversy yet in this fight at all.
Do not start. I will hit you right here on national television.
Askren letting go with the right hand. Thompson trying to throw from the bottom. Thompson holding half guard.
You see that pressure? He's just chest to chest, always moving. As soon as he feels Nick Thompson get advantage, he just moves. He just transitions extremely well.
Thompson holding a tight half guard.
It works very well in MMA. That loose kind of style, he moves very well. He's the master of it.
Thompson really just forcing Askren off balance, and Askren right back.
He just pops right back up. We saw it briefly in his other fights. Lyman good. Dan Hornbuckle get on top briefly and just can't do anything with it. The guy just pops right back up. Nice knees to the ribs.
More knees to the rib cage now by Askren.
Guy just has a big toolkit. Sliding that knee across, but he rarely goes for the full mount. He likes to leave that knee in the center knee on the belly. He doesn't get in positions where he feels he can get rolled. He's like a boxer who'd rather be on the outside where he can move.
Askren so cool, so calm in the cage.
Keeps throwing him over in almost that Darce choke position, but doesn't spend a lot of energy on it. If you think about it, it's quite an accomplishment. He's been on top for 2 rounds solid and has yet to be stood up. He's been very active, very busy. Looks like he might be thinking about a leg lock, but he's just putting the pressure on. Now Thompson going for a leg lock, but
you see how Askren just spins out of everything.
Turns around, it's that mobility.
Askren, one-way traffic at the moment versus Nick Thompson.
Up there. Yep, you're in your corner fight.
Heading into our 3rd and final round of this Bellator non-title super fight at 170 pounds. Nick Thompson, the former Bodog fight 170-pound champion versus Ben Askren, the current Bellator 170-pound world champion. Jimmy, on your scorecard.
2 rounds to none, 20-18 for Ben Askren. If you wonder about his gas, he's been wrestling pretty much this entire fight. This guy can wrestle, can grapple for an hour. Unless you can force him out of his comfort zone.
Nick Thompson is in the black trunks with the red trim. Ben Askren is in the black trunks with the yellow trim.
You know, these guys who come from a particular discipline, a guy who grew up boxing can box for forever and not get tired. That's what they're acclimated to. A grappler can grapple forever. And in all his fights, all Ben Askren has done is grapple. So his wing's amazing.
Jimmy, there have been some outstanding world-class wrestlers in MMA. Just to name a few: Mark Coleman, Dan Henderson, your very good friend Matt Lindland. How would you rank Ben Askren on pure wrestling into MMA?
I think he's one of the best, especially in freestyle wrestling. Kevin Jackson, obviously a gold medalist in freestyle. Kenny Monday only had 1 fight. I think he's not only one of the best wrestlers, he's also come further than a lot of guys who had better wrestling credentials.
TNA Impact Wrestling featuring Hulk Hogan, Kurt Angle, who is a very good amateur wrestler, by the way, and Ric Flair. It's the best professional wrestling show on television every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, only on Spike.
You know, a lot of wrestlers with great credentials don't transition to MMA as well as Ben Askren has. Now Thompson going for the triangle, transitioning to the omoplata. Askren steps right over that.
Steps over so coolly.
And that knee right through the center. It's very hard to get close guard on Ben Askren. He's always trying to pass. He's always putting his knee through.
In pure body control and positioning, Askren is maybe as slick as any fighter I've ever seen in this sport.
True.
Thompson just holding on from the bottom. Askren throwing the right hand from side position. Thompson on his hip. Thompson holding half guard. Askren thinking full mount once more.
You know, Thompson hasn't had really a competitive moment. Now going for the guillotine. It's going to be hard to finish there from half guard when he lets it go. You know, Thompson really hasn't had a competitive moment in this fight.
You see the trickle of blood on the nose of Nick Thompson. Certainly not a factor in this fight. The body control, the top position of Ben Askren, that is the factor in this fight.
You know, a lot of fighters give you a line of crap about what they're going to do. I've been working on this and this and this. I'm going to do all this stuff that you haven't seen before. Ben Askren doesn't do that. He says, I'm going to go and I'm going to take him down and I'm going to beat him up until he doesn't want to fight me anymore. And that's exactly what he does. His interviews, you know, he doesn't lie to you at all. He tells you exactly what he's going to do. His opponents know exactly what he's going to do. They just can't stop it. That's been his strength.
You see Thompson turning from the bottom.
Man, just a frustrating guy to fight.
A bit of disquiet in the crowd here at First Council Casino Hotel in Newkirk, Oklahoma, but this is just simply technical brilliance by Ben Askren.
It is, and Askren doesn't care about the crowd. He always says, hey, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I'm going to get the W. They can say whatever they want. And so far, it's worked out for him.
Some fighters will tell us, in fact, a lot of fighters tell us, Jimmy, I want the big finish. I want the crowd to love me. Askren says, I just want to win.
He's a competitor. He's a gamer. He wants the W. And he's well on his way to it. Only 1 minute left.
When he does. 7-0 entering this bout. And now into the 15th and final minute of this Bellator non-title super fight. Nick Thompson versus Ben Askren, Bellator's reigning welterweight world champion. Askren looking very much like a champion in this bout against Thompson, so gritty. 38 pro wins for Nick Thompson in his career. Look at that from Askren, manhandling. North-south momentarily by Askren. Credit to Thompson, he is moving on the ground, but it's all defense.
He's just a step behind every time he tries to move, every time he tries to roll. He's been on the bottom, I'm being told, for 14 minutes of this fight.
Askren went for the guillotine, couldn't find it, then went for the ankle. Thompson, a big right hand. There's some frustration in those punches.
Oh, it's also a lack of time. He doesn't finish this in 10 seconds. This is done.
Dying seconds in this fight. Thompson looking for the knockout punch, letting go with the right hand. Askren covering up. The bell, the end of the bout.
Well, that's a dominant 3-round performance by Ben Askren. Just what he said he was going to do.
When we return, we will learn the winner of this Bellator non-title super fight.
The Score, official media sponsor of the TELUS World Ski and Snowboard Festival.
Nick Thompson versus the champion Ben Askren has gone the distance in this Bellator super fight. Jimmy, on your scorecard.
Man, 30 to 27, Ben Askren. The only question is, were there any 10-8s in there?
Ladies and gentlemen, having gone the distance, we'll go to your judges' scorecards. Judge Jim Lampert scores the fight 30-26, while judges David Sutherland and Gary Ritter both score the fight 30-27, all for the winner by unanimous decision. He is the reigning Bellator welterweight world champion, Funky Ben Askren.
Ben Askren now 8-0 in his pro MMA career. A dominant performance, controlled the fight, gets the win versus Nick Thompson.
I'm here with your winner, Ben Askren. Your first anniversary, a gift for your wife, another W. How's that feel?
Yes, sir. It felt great. Would have liked to finish. I know the fans are on my ass about it, but I still haven't lost around unanimously. How do you like me now?
Now, two guys that definitely want a shot at you. Rick Hahn, he's fighting in the finals versus the thoroughbred Jay Heron. What are your thoughts on that fight?
I watched Jay Heron tonight and I wasn't impressed. I'm in his dressing room, so who knows, he might come try to get me, but he ain't got nothing for me.
So you have the answer for anyone, right?
I would like to believe so. I know I'm having an argument on that, but let's do it.
Bring it on. Your champion, Ben Askren, ladies and gentlemen.
The winner.